Oh ho ho! Google just let the cat out of the bag. Now we just have to find out if that cat is a squeaking kitten or a roaring lion. Roar. Okay, I suppose I should also make an attempt at a squeaking kitten. Squeak. It'll be interesting to go back and check the analytics on this video, see how many of you made it past my roaring lion and squeaking kittens. So the news dropped May 27th and early May 28th that a huge Google document was leaked. And this huge leak reveals inner workings of Google's algorithm. So here's the first article that I saw on Search Engine Land. And this particular article was released by Danny Goodwin. Gotta be honest, always skeptical when stuff like this comes out. It's like a hungry shark inviting you to play in the ocean. Are they really trying to play, or are they just trying to make you dinner? I'm going to dive into this. I do think there is some merit and some things to learn from it. Now, this whole situation came about in early May. This other article, which is like the original, Rand Fishkin got an email from an anonymous source claiming to have access to a massive leak of API documentation from inside Google's search division. I will come back to this article shortly as it dives deeper. Now, that anonymous source looks to be possibly Irfan Azimi. I found this video, which seems to be a public statement from Mr. Azimi here. This is like a 13-minute video, but he basically talks about why he released this and also broke down major points. I think the easiest way to do this is just to look at the Search Engine Land article first and break down their major points. So first off, there was 2,596 modules that are represented in the API documentation with 14,014 attributes. Now for weighting, it states that the documents did not specify how any of the ranking features are weighted, just that they exist. And this is when I started getting a hunch that this was likely not a roaring lion, but a squeaky little kitten. Twiddlers, which are re-ranking functions that adjust the information retrieval score of a document or change the ranking of a document. Also, content can be demoted for a variety of reasons, such as the following. A link does not match the target. SERP signals indicate user dissatisfaction. Product reviews. Location. Exact match domains. And porn. Google apparently keeps a copy of every version of every page it has ever indexed, meaning Google can remember every change ever made to a page. However, Google only uses the last 20 changes of a URL when analyzing links. They say links matter. Come on, no shit. They are the biggest ranking factor if you have your on-page optimization correct. They have been for a long time. Search Engine then says it doesn't prove that Google spokespersons lied about links not being a top 3 ranking factor or links mattering less. Bullshit. Liars. All of them. They also say successful clicks matter. It goes on to say that Google uses a variety of measurements, including bad clicks, good clicks, last longest clicks, and unsquashed clicks. They then say you may need to drive more successful clicks using a broader set of queries and earn more link diversity if you want to continue to rank. Brand matters, and supposedly Fishkin's big takeaway from the leak is that brand matters more than anything else. He says, if there was one universal piece of advice I had for marketers seeking to broadly improve their organic search rankings and traffic, it would be to build a notable, popular, well-recognized brand in your space outside of Google search. Okay, I mean, that's cool, and I think it's good advice, but how does that really help anyone know what to do when it comes to SEO? I feel like that's very general, obvious advice. That's like talking to someone who doesn't know how to build a house and being like, hey, don't build your house out of weak materials. Build it out of strong materials. And they're like, yeah, obviously, like strong materials is a good idea, but what materials should I use in what parts of the house? And how do we build the damn thing? So I agree with Ron, but it also doesn't do much in terms of help for most people. They also say entities matter. Google stores author information associated with content and tries to determine whether an entity is the author of the document. Site authority. Google uses something called site authority. If that surprises you, not quite sure what to say about that. Chrome data. A module called Chrome in Total indicates that Google uses data from its Chrome browser for search ranking. Not surprising at all. Whitelists. A couple of modules indicate Google whitelists certain domains related to elections and COVID, is election authority, and is COVID local authority. This definitely makes sense too and is not surprising at all. Probably one of the scarier reportings though. This fact alone makes Google one of the most powerful tools in the entire world. Over 2/3 of the world's population has internet access. Over 80% of those users use Google. And Google can and does control who you see information from. I can only imagine what goes on in the shadows. Now, I also want to cover the 5 major takeaways from Rand, since he was the original person that was kind of contacted by this source. Number 1 was brand matters more than anything else. Yeah, we kind of talked about this already. Number 2, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, or EEAT, might not matter as directly as some SEOs think. I'm laughing because I've been telling people this for years and years and years. This is basically a distraction word for authority. Number 3, content and links are secondary when user intention around navigation and the patterns that intent creates are present. Now, this is actually one of the ones that I really liked reading about. Basically, if someone searches for something like, let's say, just like a brand, right? And a bunch of people are scrolling to page 2 and clicking on the actual brand because they got put on page 2 for some reason, Google will quickly realize what's going on and rank that site much higher. This should tell you how big CTR can be, especially if people are going, to page 2 and 3 and beyond to find listings. And this definitely makes total sense knowing how Google's algorithm works. And this all goes back to Google being very deceptive too. So Google always says things like, links are not the biggest ranking factor, not even in the top 3. Maybe something like click-through rate is stronger than links in a certain situation like this. But number 1, the website would not get to where it was without the links in most cases. Then number 2, this is going to happen so seldomly that it's almost irrelevant to compare the two. CTR may be able to move the needle more than links in certain situations, but you aren't going to get to that situation without first getting links in most cases. I thought that was a cool read though. Number 4, classic ranking factors, PageRank, anchors, topical PageRank based on the anchor text of the link, and the text matching have been waning in importance for years, but page titles are still important. I've talked about this in recent videos, and I actually have a video titled Why Titles Are So Important, already shot, that is due to be released in the next 2 weeks. So if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Number 5, for most small and medium businesses and newer creators and publishers, SEO is likely to show poor returns until you have established credibility, navigational demand, and a strong reputation among a sizable audience. I mean, no shit. Google takes, or SEO takes forever these days. So look, if we break this all down, this is like a squeaky little kitten, right, of a data leak. First things first, we already know it works. We see it. Google can't hide what works. You simply analyze sites on page 1 and you can quickly see it. Rank your own sites and it validates what you saw. We've done this thousands of times over the past 20 years. I mentioned a comment about the weighting when I first started the video. Without the mention of how each ranking feature is weighted, a lot of this data is honestly useless. That's like them coming out and finding out that image alt tags are indeed a part of the algorithm. Yeah, that's cool, but it's like 0.00001% weight in the algorithm, right? Which really makes it irrelevant in the end. Now, there was a couple cool things in here, right? Like the CTR thing and how Google reads certain data. But in the end, this is not really going to help anyone rank better 99% of the time. If you're a subscriber, you know what works already. Basic on-page optimization and the right links. That's it. The articles talk about how important click data and user experience is and all that, yet I have shown you all multiple sites that have horrible click data and user experience. The ugliest sites breaking all of the rules, yet still ranking number 1. People literally come to these sites and they bounce immediately because these sites suck ass. And I made it that way on purpose. So yeah, Google let a squeaky little kitten out of the bag. Should I attempt my squeak again? Squeak! All right, leave a comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out my free SEO mind map. Talk soon.